So, if you heard my last episode, you know that I'm reading the book of Exodus in the Bible. And right now, I'm at the part where God parts the Red Sea and the people walk across dry land. So, as just a bit of a backstory, the people were enslaved in Israel for 400 years, right? And they had just sort of left now, like the firstborn, Pharaoh's firstborn son died, and finally Pharaoh was like, "Fine, just get out of here. I can't deal with you guys. Like, bye, go." So as they left, the whole like thousands and thousands of them left Egypt, and obviously they were slow because they were on foot. They didn't have horses and carriages and whatnot. And then as they left, Pharaoh was like, "Oh my gosh, what have I done? Why did I leave these guys? First of all, like they're the ones who caused all this pain, and secondly, like they're my workers. I need them, so I cannot let this happen. I need to go and chase them and bring them back." So he, along with his army, they start leaving from Egypt, and they kind of start getting closer and closer to the Israelites. Now the Israelites are like, they panic because they're like, "Oh crap, we have now reached here. We've reached the Red Sea, and there's in front of us is the sea, and at the back of us is the Egyptians. We are going to die. We are surely going to die because, like, what the hell? Like, why, Moses, why did you bring us here to die? Like, what's going on?" So the thing that struck me here was, and because when I read it like as a child, I was like, "Oh yeah, they should have had a bit more faith and blah blah blah." But the thing that struck me was that the people of Israel were absolutely terrified at this point, and they had zero faith in God. And while some people might think that they should have had more faith, and by some people I mean me, I now think that their fear was absolutely justified. They had been slaves to the Egyptians for 400 years and were terrified of their cruel slave drivers or their slave masters. God brought them out of Egypt, yes, and led them by a huge pillar of cloud by day and a burning pillar of fire by night. That miracle itself should have been enough, right? Well, so and then the story is like, he at the end, in case you've not read this, he parts the Red Sea and they walk through, and they were like, it was all good. The Egyptians drowned, and the Israelites were saved, and blah blah blah. But and then he had this pillar of fire, of clouds by day, and pillar of burning fire by night, that led them through the desert. And yet, these guys, they just kept complaining, and they kept saying things like, "Oh, Moses, you've brought us out here to die, and it would have been better if we were back in Egypt, and we would have been better off over there. At least we would have had food and this and that and blah blah blah." So that whole complaining stuff, and I used to look at them and go, "What is wrong with them? Like, can they not see what God is doing for them?" But so often we are like that, and so we think that these big miracles should have been enough, but 400 years of conditioning and fear was going to be hard to undo and change. It's like the handbrake in our mind's car. So they were afraid of the powerful Egyptians, scared that they were going to be killed for running away. And so they pulled that handbrake of panic and fear. But God was patient with them. He knew that they would react this way. Hence, he planned big miracles for them to reassure them that he was indeed there with them and that he was more powerful than their oppressors. The cool thing is that he didn't need their faith to perform that mighty miracle of parting the Red Sea. He loved them deeply enough to reach out and meet them where they were. He rescued them despite their fear and lack of faith. The lesson in this is that God doesn't need us to have faith in him to work in our lives. He's constantly doing good things for us and doing miracles for us, whether we realize it or not. When we are able to put our faith glasses on, as I like to call it, that's when we can look back and see all of the things that he has done for us in our lives. And those same faith glasses will help us to trust him with our present and our future. Sometimes he sends a pillar of cloud and a pillar of fire to guide us, reassure us, and show us the way. But when we learn to be still and know that he is God, he speaks to our hearts through that still small voice within us. Still always guiding us, always lighting our path, and always, always, always loving us deeply. I just want to leave you with that thought, that God loves you deeply, and He is dying for you to know Him and love Him just as much as He does. Have a lovely day with all my love and prayers and hugs. God bless you, and see you next week.